Good evening, tiny houses and off-gridders. I'm trying something a little bit different this evening. My first time with a selfie stick. Bear with me if it gets a bit shaky. I'm also going to try something highly technical because I've been watching the news this evening and I've got some good news. I've discovered that TinyHouse in New Zealand is making the mainstream again, in a small way, in a small regional newspaper, but it's a very cool story. Now I'm going to show you this on my computer screen, which is going to be not very clear. I've seen these people do screen casting and all that, but I just don't have the gear for that, or the mental capacity, I think. But here I am inside my tiny house. It's evening time. Haven't got a very good camera, haven't got particularly good light, but I'll just go round slowly. There's my computer, you can see behind me in the bookcase, and we're coming round. That's the door up to my bedroom, my loft. The access to the cab of the old truck that this is built on is through that hole there, and I've got these are the steps that go up to my loft. In the on the front wall we've got the kitchen behind me, all the stuff you'd find in a normal house, except that it's pushed closer together. And what have we got here? We've got a bit of an entertainment centre, the stereos up there, and a wee wine rack, and these are the stove. This is the stove, the fireplace, and the steps that go up to the rear loft, which, being a single lazy sort of a dude, I seem to just use it as a storage shelf system. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to read to you the story that I've just read on this newspaper off the computer screen while you watch the picture. So I'm going to flick through onto the front camera and we'll have a look at the computer. Front camera. Where do we change? Hey, you can't change in mid-video. I'm going to have to show you the whole thing on the back camera here. Right, hopefully this is going to be at least a little bit readable. If you can't read, just look at the pictures. Okay, so the story is called Tiny Homes Wheel Around Building Codes, and this is from a small regional newspaper at the top end of New Zealand's South Island. And the story goes, I'm not going to read the captions to the photos just yet, but I'll read you the story. Tiny homes on wheels could be the future. With caravan park rental as low as $100 a week, caravans don't need building consent and generate virtually no compliance costs with detachable links to holiday park plumbing and power. Spring Creek Holiday Park near Blenheim had their first application for an eco-cottage on wheels, with the manufacturer winning assurance from the Marlborough District Council that no consents were required to park it permanently at a plumbed and wired site. With the detachable With the detachable power and sewerage links, no extra costs were involved. If the cottage owner wanted to make a more permanent connection, a registered plumber or drain layer would be called in. When 76-year-old Dennis Greer sought permission from the Marlborough District Council last week to site his 25 square metre house on wheels at the holiday park, he was told it would need various consents, including stormwater discharge, and it would be likely to cost more than $5,000 in compliancing costs. The manufacturer of Greer's tiny home, Colin Whiteman of Christchurch, went into bat for Greer, and he pointed out to the council that the home was, in fact, a caravan. That cleared the way, Whiteman said. Caravans don't need any building consents. This is a caravan. The power, the water and the septic are all detachable fittings, just like a caravan, Whiteman said. He said Greer had the option of a more permanent plumbing system, and a drain layer would be needed for that. Provided the caravan park itself passed sewage inspections, Greer's tiny home would be legal in the eyes of local authorities. This is the way of the future, Whiteman said of his $54,000 tiny home.
We can't keep up with demand. It's a logical solution for the housing crisis. Trailer parks are huge in the United States, where it's an accepted part of their culture. We're making them for caravan parks all across the South Island because they're perfectly geared for that setting. Caravans have no building code, and you'd freeze your arse off in them. They're just a tin box, even the $100,000 ones. The ones we sell are setting the standard. They've got full insulation, including underfloor, double glazing, proper headroom, and a livable width. The demand is coming from Airbnb, farm cottages, granny flats, as well as these holiday parks. With combined power and gas, it's possible to go totally off-grid in them, Whiteman said. Spring Creek Holiday Park manager Andy Collingwood said Greer's tiny house was the first that they'd considered at the popular camping ground. We have around 70 sites, and about 40 of them are long-term residents in caravans, people staying 6 weeks or longer. There's a lack of accommodation in the area, and we're fairly strict about who stays. A lot are contract workers, and they need to have written work references. Even the self-employed contractors need to have written references, Collingwood said. We have a good bunch here. In Mr. Greer's case, he can choose how he links to the sewage and the power, and he would come under the campground's compliance. Anything else he needs from the council, that's up to him. Collingwood said the rates were $100 a week, plus power for a long-term stay, and $35 per night if you're staying for a short-term stay. The Marlborough District Council Building Control Group Manager, Bill East, said, "The tiny house fits into the activity that does not require a building consent." This is great news. So there we go. That's the end of the story, and that's something that was published today. So, great news. Glad I could share it with you guys first. If you found this video useful, please press like, because that'll help YouTube to bring more videos like this your way. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, do it. And then all of the new good news that I've got and the inventions and the crazy times that we have coming in the future will come directly to your inbox, and you'll see them the day that they're posted. So thanks once again, and good night from TinyHouse Offgrid Resources here in New Zealand.